boys and girls, it's rarely, I don't think I have ever brought in an object lesson that you had in Sunday school. But today's Sunday school lesson was so perfect for an object lesson, I decided to bring it in. Boys and girls, I'm not sure if your age had it, but in our group, we talked about how Jesus fed the people with the fish and the bread. Did y'all have that lesson in your Sunday school this morning? No? Sunday school teachers, was that in the children's? It was in the children's? Okay, all right. Well, today I'm going to make it come alive, so maybe you'll remember it. Okay, boys and girls, back in the day when Jesus was walking around on the earth, when in his years, during his ministry, Jesus' disciples had just gone out and they had been out on their first mission activity. They had gone by themselves, and they came back and they were really tired. But people were trying to find Jesus wherever he went because they were so excited to hear what Jesus had to say. They listened to everything that Jesus had to say. So boys and girls, one day they came and Jesus was tired. They went to get some rest, and the crowd came up and they found Jesus. And he was going across the water with the disciples, and they went on the other side of the lake so they could meet him. And Jesus came, and he had compassion on the people. And even though they were all tired, he said, "No, let's talk to them." So Jesus started talking to the crowd. Boys and girls, there were a lot of people there. And as he talked and talked and talked and did a long lesson. And they were so excited to hear what Jesus had to say. And they were sitting there just like you boys and girls are, just listening. They were so excited to hear everything that Jesus had to say. Well, it started growing dark, and the people were hungry. And the disciples said, "Jesus, we've got to let all these people go because they're hungry, and they've got to go find them something to eat." And Jesus looked at them, and he said, "You feed them." And they looked at Jesus, and they said, "Well, how are we going to feed them?" You know, back then, they didn't have Hardee's and McDonald's. They couldn't run down and pick up some dollar cheeseburgers like I would have done if there had been a bunch of people I was trying to feed. They went and they said, "Jesus, it would take us a lot of money. A lot of money to be able to feed the people." And Jesus wanted them, boys and girls, to have faith. So he said, "Do any of you disciples, I want you to 12 disciples to go out, and I want you to find see if anybody's got any fish or bread." So they went, and there was a little boy, and a little boy had some fish. He had actually 2 pieces of fish and 5 loaves of bread. Well, boys and girls, I brought some fish and some bread today, okay? He had 2 pieces of fish. I've got 2 fish sticks. Okay, he had 2 pieces of fish. Do y'all like fish sticks? Oh, not me. Oh. Okay. And then he brought 5 loaves of bread. And boys and girls, it wasn't a loaf of bread like we think about a big old loaf of bread. I brought something kind of representative of what he might have had. He had 5 little loaves. Do y'all see the little loaves of bread? That's what the little boy had brought for his lunch that day. You see how little this is? 5 little loaves. You see that, Jack? Okay. Well, he brought that. Well, Jesus told them, he said, they looked at Jesus, and I'm sure they thought, "Jesus, my goodness, there's a lot of people here. That was just enough for a little boy." Well, first of all, if it had been some of you and Jesus asked you to give your fish and your bread, your lunch, you know what some of you would have said? All of us would have said. We would have said, "No way. I'm not giving. I brought that for me. That's my food." But not this little boy. He said, "Here, you can have it." So he gave his fish, he gave his lunch, and so Jesus asked the disciples to do something. He asked the disciples to sit the people by 50s and 100s. Well, boys and girls, I did a quick count. Upstairs, there's 26 people upstairs. Actually, 24 right now because 2 of us came down. But there were 25. So if we look in here, it would be like these sections. If this section was full, there'd probably be about 50 people. This would be another 50, okay? This would be another 50. That's if it's full, and another 50. So there'd be about 100 people here. Well, boys and girls, when they set them down like that, there were 5,000 men. That means there would be, this is 100, so this would be, to be 1,000, there would be 10 times this, and to be 5,000, there would be 5 times that. So a lot of people. That was just the men. That wasn't counting the women and the children. I mean, if the Dean family had been there, there'd been 4 children, for the man and the woman. So there was a lot of people there. And they looked at that little bitty fish and little bitty loaves of bread. Well, you know what Jesus did? He took the food and he lifted it up to the heavens. He lifted it up toward God, and he asked God to bless the food. Boys and girls, he didn't pray, thank you for the food. He blessed the food. We're all thankful. We say our prayers, and we're all thankful for our food, but Jesus asked God, he lifted it to the heavens, and he asked God to bless the food, and God did. Well, boys and girls, the disciples came. There were 12 disciples. The disciples came, and Jesus started breaking the food apart, the bread. And the disciples were running around. They were giving the food to everybody. And boys and girls, this little bit of food fed over 5,000 people, plus probably the women another 5,000, maybe kids another. It could have been 10,000 people there. It could have been 20,000 people. And that's a little bit of food provided for them. Well, boys and girls, look at these people out here. Do you think this little bit of food would feed everybody in here? No. But you know what? With Jesus, everything is possible. There's nothing impossible with Jesus. He did a miracle. Well, boys and girls, not only did he do a miracle, everybody ate, but they ate till they were full. They didn't just eat. Now, I don't know if I know my grandsons, if they were eating, this wouldn't fill them up. But this filled everybody up, and then some. And boys and girls, when they finished, Jesus took some baskets, and some big old baskets. And there was enough to fill 12 whole baskets of food left over. Boys and girls, the reason I brought this to show you today is to let you know that Jesus did miracles back in his day when he was in the world. Jesus is still doing miracles today. Boys and girls, if you need anything, God provides for our needs. God performs miracles and takes a little bit of food. God takes anything that we need and takes care of our needs. Boys and girls, let's walk up real quietly to Children's Church.